Jay, we talk a lot about black swans, and at the end of last year, we had fun putting the list together of what we thought was going to happen.
I love doing that with you. That's like, it's so much fun. I think it starts around Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
And we start to put together the lists, and then we argue over them. And you put a bunch of red marker all over what I wrote, and then I do the same back to you. So
yeah. The trouble was that the swans are kind of grayish. They're not quite black.
Yeah. What you realize when you're writing that is that a true black swan is like, a 1 in a million event. Like it's even hard to conceive of it. And then it has an outsized impact.
The whole point is you can't conceive.
Exactly.
So what surprised you on that, of the outcomes, the first half
of
year?
Our gray swans?
Yeah.
The one that got me the most, I think, is how quickly AI has gotten into the workflows and the adoption of AI, and what that means for like office demand and employment moving forward. Also, I think power and data centers, like that's become a big focus in our industry. So I think that was the thing that struck me the most.
Yes. I think I was disappointed that the geopolitical risk, which we were sort of priding ourselves.
We called it early. When Maduro was extracted from Venezuela, and we thought, here we go. We called it, right?
Yeah, we're right. Yeah. But investors didn't seem to...
It just didn't do much, did it? No, it was kind of strange how fast, I guess the market maybe has become numb to this kind of geopolitical chaos that's going on. And so I think that it reprices risk so quickly, or it shrugs it off so quickly.
Yeah, even the media haven't been able to keep pace, really. So you seem very positive about AI.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trepidatious for sure, because there's a lot that can go wrong, and we're in a very uncertain world. But I'm also genuinely excited about the kinds of things that are possible moving forward. And
I think we're about to be deluged by this AI tsunami, but you seem to be able to swim. You've got your life belt on.
Well, a lot of great people here at Capright, that we're working with. I think we're uniquely positioned to take advantage of it, just because, we're centrally operated, we're privately held, we're
so you can adapt. That's the key.
Yeah, I think, it's alignment. I mean, we're all pretty well aligned here in terms of where we're going and how we're implementing things. So I think that makes a big difference.
Jay, so what did you get wrong on our black swan list?
I can think of a couple. We were worried that there was going to be a hard landing in China that was going to, that could potentially impact the rest of the world. I just don't think we've really seen that. So we got that one wrong. And when you say I got it wrong, I think we got it wrong, right?
You picked that one up. Yeah, yes. Okay. I'll share the blame.
And then the other one, I would say credit markets. There hasn't been like a credit collapse. We definitely see pockets of weakness. I definitely think that, there's some possibility, for that in certain areas, especially private equity and private capital, equity. Places where risk gets mispriced. I mean, that's sort of the age-old story, but I think there are some conditions.
What about insurance? That was on everybody's lips last year.
Oh, well, it still is. And a lot of times the insurance cost is driving the underwriting more than market fundamentals at this point for certain assets, and depending on the location and the risks that go along with it. So there's certain assets that have become really uninsurable. And so that obviously has a big impact on asset values.
Yeah, the other big impact, of course, is regulatory tightening, although interest rates have kind of plateaued now.
Yeah, it just depends where you are in the country. And I think this is why you can't paint commercial real estate with one brush anymore, right? We used to kind of watch it move in tandem, all property types. And now we have this bifurcated market. And you have it with the asset types, different super specialties and sectorization that goes on. But you also have it with geography. And so you get in certain markets like, New York with these rent controls, or St. Paul's, another market like that, where you have rent controls and you have problems with real estate taxes that are obviously impacting property values. You have zoning and other things that are going on around environmental. That's, in some cases, these are really pulling value away from the assets because it's creating an apparatus, whether it's a taxation or some kind of rent cap that's impacting it. So investors have gotten very good at understanding the micro markets and what's happening in these different jurisdictions to understand the risks better.
And of course, back to AI, that's a biggie in understanding, identifying these local trends.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can help you keep them organized. You have to also be able to talk to human beings and understand which way the wind is blowing to know how investors are feeling about this, what's happening in the local market with the taxing authorities or the zoning authorities. Like, those are the things that you have to keep on top
well, I
of.
think your team has the wisdom to put that human ingredient into the equation.
And I think that's the whole thing these days. It's like mixing all these great technologies that we have with the judgment and the relationships and the trust of the client, and bringing all that together.
And adapting
Exactly.
is the key.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for explaining all that, Jay.
My pleasure, Steve. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you.